afternoon from Dr. Barry, Melbourne News, London News that is, in Melbourne. Does it really matter? No. I have some good news for you guys. In relation to establishing your ID, that's just an example. I'll put it up at the end and you can have a look what you need. Does it work? Well, this is the second occasion it has worked, and I was a witness to the second one. I accompanied somebody to court as an observer, and they produced their ID. They lodged their paperwork with the correct jurisdiction, and that's with the flag. I'll show you the flag we used, right, or he used. Case could not proceed. The identification, it works. You must establish your identification. It does work, and you can go to any court as the principal for that surname. Now, under the Immigration Act, that identification is in lieu of a passport. Now, I don't recommend anybody try traveling around the world on it. You could lawfully get out of the country, but you may have difficulty getting into another country. But the ID is definitely got lawful standing and very powerful at that. And creating jurisdiction before you enter this onto these ships in dry dock eliminates their authority to proceed. Now, that only applies to traffic and stuff. I do not want to see people who commit serious offenses. I don't assist them in any way defend themselves, especially if it's a serious offense. So I think we'll leave that one for now. Further good news is we've made contact with the International Court. I hope to be speaking to them very shortly in relation to becoming part of their system, and we can lay charges against the cabal of criminals. Now, already this court has been up and running, and it has an enormous amount of charges laid against very high-flying politicians and judges, etc. It has lawful standing, and it will succeed. We will have that here in Australia very soon, I hope. And what we're actually fighting is the sheer contempt the maritime commercial law courts have for the people. You report there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're talking about traffic. And let's face it, we do have to have control on the idiots out there on the road that are driving recklessly, drink driving without due care and attention. We have to have that. But we also have to have law and order. And we also have to have respect for each other. Now, they'll get people to turn up at 9 o'clock in the morning, knowing quite well the case is not going to be heard till late into the afternoon. In fact, if you establish jurisdiction with your ID and your flag, that's the red ensign, they'll keep you there all day and they'll postpone your case, and you won't even know about it because they'll swap courts on you. They'll send you to court 2, but in actual fact, the case will be dismissed or thrown out in court 4. So they play games with you, show total lack of regard and respect whether you've lost wages or not. This has to stop, hence the International Court and going back to lawful hearings. Now let's get away from, stop using this word legal. It's fiction. If we're going to talk about law, we'll talk about common law, and this is the land of common law, and that's God's law. And if anybody who thinks they're above the law, and that includes the people on these vessels in dry dock, they have a maxim which says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and any man or woman who thinks they're above the law is insane. And that applies to the magistrates as well, who have total disregard for the law of the land. It has to stop. And by God, we, the people, intend to do it in a very short period of time, and that's 2020. So stand by and watch this space. And if it's not my space, it will be on somebody else's. So there is just not I'm just the messenger. There'll be other messengers, as there has been in the past. Next bit of good news is Bill Turner will be coming back on, possibly this week, or maybe over the weekend. We have to work it out. Bill's a very busy man, and he thanks the people for watching and sharing. And we're both on this. Some people said, I didn't know you had 2 channels. No, Bill's got his channel, and I've got my channel where we both share. So if you see stuff on Bill's and you see it on mine, that's just fantastic. And the only thing Bill and I are interested in is getting the information out to the people who don't know about it. And every day, if you see somebody and you just try and get one bit of information across the fact that they don't own their properties anymore, or the Bail-in Act, which they're going to lose their superannuation, the fine, something that will make them think, because there's so many things that we can tell them that it's just mind-boggling. And I mean, just remember, for those who are convinced now and know what's going on, if someone told us about something 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, we wouldn't believe it. So these people are in the same boat as we are now. They're in the sleep mode later on when they start asking questions. And they realize they've been hoodwinked for the last 20, 30, 40 years. Well, then they're going to wake up. Now, there's any police members, I'm trying to get all the police, retired police together. We need a group of people with knowledge on how to lay prosecutions and how to charge, and of course with experience in making arrests. We're going to need them in the common law court. So get out and at least talk to one or two people a day and help them to understand that they've been absolutely brainwashed. Remember, no more legal. It's got to be lawful or unlawful or not lawful, which is even better. Forget the legal aspect, that's fiction. And they've taken over. And to any member of the police force, it's pretty hard, but you only have rights of arrest under common law. Now that's quite an enormous amount. It even goes to traffic, where you find somebody on the road who's endangering other people's lives. You don't have to worry. You're not going to lose the power to pull people over if they commit a crime. Of course, we've got to get rid of these acts. There's millions of them, and they're about as useful as the proverbial. Anyway, watch out for Tony. Have a look at the ID. Contact me. I'll help you set it up. And I'm sorry to the guys, I can't answer all the emails. If you're going to send me an email, which the address is on the back, just make it one line, and if I can help you, I promise I will. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, Dr. Barry, sign off in Melbourne. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for Bill Turner. Kevin Arnott has been taken off the air. Somehow they're blocked. I can't get hold of him at all, even by email, this could happen to me. And if the big guys are watching up there, I'm well aware of the song. I got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, and when to walk and when to run. If I have to, I will run. Okay, bye for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Further good news, I have just got off a Zoom conversation with John Smith, who is head of the International Common Law Court, which is set up in London. And I was speaking to John in Scotland. That's where John is from. And we had a fantastic conversation. It was really encouraging. He is going to help us set up our common law courts here in Australia under the guise and help and stewardmanship, if that's the correct word to use, of the Common Law International Court. Now, that is great news for us. We'll be able to tackle these guys who've been playing games with us for years in their fictional courts. It's now time for a little bit of lawful playback. Now, if you look up the top here, you get the address of this International Common Law Court. It's www.commonlawcourt.com, all one word. You just get the details of your birth certificate. You type it into follow the prompts, type it in and send it. There is no charge. You've now registered yourself with the International Common Law Court as a living human being, man or woman. And from there on, you can follow the prompts. But look it up. It's time to get excited, because we've been taking a lot of a pounding from these maritime law people who don't give a stuff about us. As I said earlier on, you can spend all day in court and they just laugh at you and get money out of you. But that's going to finish. Anyway, again, it's been 2 hours. It's now just gone past 11 o'clock at night. It's been a very long evening and a long day for an old man. I'm going to retire and have something to eat. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. I think I deserve it after today and the good news we just got. Bye, guys. Thank you. I did try to copy the last part of or record the last part of the meeting, and I pressed the record button, and John in Scotland pressed his, and it looked like it was recording, but at the end of it, technology beat both of us. So sadly, I don't have any part of that conversation. But nevertheless, it's still fantastic news.
Well, my name's John Lee Pettimore, same as my daddy and his daddies before. You hardly ever saw Granddaddy down here. He only come to town about twice a year.